G'day guys, and welcome to an Asian session market update video. Now for the Asian session, I'll be analyzing a GJ, gold and AUD moving forward, guys. If any of you have any requests, make sure to leave a comment in the chat below and I will take a look at those pairs for you. Also, if you can hit the like button, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And without further ado, let's start with GJ, guys. So once again, let's start the weekly. All right, so we are towards the back end of the week now. What we can see is we're forming. Let's go to Awanda. Are forming weak bearish. We have still respect the high of the previous weekly candle. What I would be doing is we'll go back to the other chart just now. I'm going to mark in the low of the current weekly candle. If we begin to break below it, see what we've got below that level. Seeing we are rejecting that higher time frame resistance on a GJ. Looking at it on the daily time frame. Structurally, we are still technically bearish as long as we remain below these low highs. As long as we still close below it, what we're doing right now is we're just consolidating. We're respecting it. We're consolidating at the highs below the current weekly candle's low. Again, we can see we've got clean traffic to the left on the daily time frame. So far, created a lower high to the previous daily candle. If we pull back, obviously not a great deal of volume just yet. Pre-Asian session open. But if we begin to break below the previous candle by looking at that, selling it from the resistance could be a really good option. Now onto the 4-hour time frame. Structurally, that is technically still, by the looks of it, still bullish, just hanging on, just holding on, closing equal to the lows here, the origin of the swing to the upside. Therefore, I would say we're technically bullish. So we're at a support. So obviously, we want to buy low. So it could be good options to start looking for potential buys from the support. Now the current 4-hour is now close to not quite broken below the previous candle by the looks of it. Does have a lower high, is forming bearish. We are pulling back below that support over here to the left. Potentially, it looks like at this point, if we begin to break below the previous candle, we could come down towards that 187.40 sort of level. We are technically still bullish though at a support. I'm going to mark in resistance. Not yet closed, but it will be a level on the M30. So for the time being, I'm going to have to change it to blue. Jumping and going a little bit, guys. And the resistance to the upside. I'm not going to bother to the downside, still a way off. I'll probably have that moving forward into London session, guys. Want to do the update for that. All right, so onto the M30, and we are technically bearish on the M30 time frame. So that gives us a neutral bias at the moment, with the daily and the 4-hour being bullish, weekly, and the M30 bearish. And look what we've done. We've created the current daily candles high. We've rejected a resistance form within yesterday's candle. So I'm just going to drag this up a little bit. And we're popping below a support form. Do we have the margin? That is the question just now. Below the support here. Yeah, they're probably enough. Again, I won't have this video uploaded in time. However, if it does close below, what we've done is grab liquidity from this resistance. The new candle is likely just to open up and drop. It doesn't really need to pull back to create much of an upward wick. It is to continue to the downside. Also, the hourly candle is still open. Plenty of time within that candle to still make a move to the downside. Now, aside from that, seeing the bias is neutral. If we come back down to this support, respect the previous daily candle's low, not begin to pop below it, or maybe a structure at this level, heading towards maybe Tokyo Open. Would be potential buy options from these lows, guys. Just wait for your catalyst within price action anywhere really within this gray zone. But if we begin to pop back above it, that is more optimal to look for your potential buy options on GJ from these lows. So just be marking buys. Now, further buy options above the current daily candle's high, and just a little bit above that level. Once we pop above that resistance, that is where I'd be looking for buys. We've got some clean traffic to the left. Would make sense to look for potential buys above 187.860. At that point there, you can correlate it with the 4-hour, also creating higher highs, higher lows. The current candle respects lower the previous. So that is GJ, guys. Now let's move on to have a look at gold. Let me clear these drawings and let's have a quick look. The gold, looking at on the weekly time frame, we are forming relatively strong bearish within the current candle itself, but we're still not broken below the previous. We have a lower high so to the previous candle. Approaching another resistance here to the left, which we bounced off previously on last week's candle. But we are forming bearish. It looks at this stage we are potentially going to come down a little bit further. Looking at the daily time frame, still technically bullish, but counter probabilities to the downside. Strong bearish engulfing candle. That suggests to me we'll pull back to grab some more liquidity before we head back down. Where can we potentially pull back to? going to mark in the low of that previous bullish candle as potential level and just see what it looks like on the 4-hour and M30 time frame. Also, the low to the low of the previous daily candle. Current day's candle is just open not too long ago, about an hour and a half ago. We're not going to yet mark in the low of the current day's candle. We'll go down to the 4-hour time frame now. The 4-hour time frame is technically still bullish, guys, but again, kind of probability is the downside. So that lines up with a support, essentially where we could pull back to grab some more liquidity before we head back down. So I'm just going to mark that level in, guys. Going to mark it in. Get rid of this horizontal. Going to mark in resistance a little bit above. And as for support, don't yet have it at this point here. I'm going to mark in these lows and adjust it on the M30. We'll have a zone just there, I'm showing the M30. Technically bullish on the 4-hour. We're bullish on the daily. And we're currently bearish on the weekly. So the M30 is bearish. So I said bullish 4-hour, bullish daily. Did I say bullish 4-hour? God, sorry guys. I did say bullish 4-hour. So the bias is technically neutral. Now, interesting. The options on gold for me today. What I'd be doing is drawing in, this is for the Asian session as well, guys. Obviously, this analysis could change come pre-London. Drawing in this zone. Like so. And what I'd be saying, potential sells, we get a closure below this zone. And again, what we're doing is we'll create a lower high, equal low, pull back to create potentially lower high, and begin to break below this support, close below 2012. I think we can look for potential sell options below 2011, 275, and around that point there looks to be relatively a good opportunity to sell upon continuation below the previous daily candle's low. Now, as I mentioned before, we could potentially pull back to grab more liquidity before we head back down. Where can we pull back to? Obviously, this gray zone. But for that matter, I'd just be looking for candles to give me my right confirmations in this gray zone. And I'd just be saying sells below. As long as we pull up and we also form a bit of structure, maybe this point, right, the high, low, or high, low, low, that type of scenario. That could be us grabbing liquidity before we head back down in line with the previous daily candle. That's what I'd be looking at immediately on gold. Buy options maybe above come closer to London session if that is to be the case. Now let's look at AU, guys. I haven't looked at this pair for quite a while. It is my currency, so let me take a look at it. Looking at on the weekly, so the current weekly, not a great deal of volume. Previous weekly was a pretty strong, or a strong bearish candle. Going to be decisive, guys. Either weak or strong, and that is a strong candle. Current candle lower high, yet to break the low, not a great deal of volume. A little bit of support to the left hand side on the high time frame here. Daily, so as we can see, we're consolidating out that support. The structure itself is technically bullish as long as we remain above this support, which we have so far done so. Very indecisive price action though throughout the week. Long wick to the upside, close near our low. Current candle obviously just open, not a great deal of volume. Very choppy area price action at that support. Onto the 4-hour time frame. Technically bullish as well. That was the swing, the origin of the swing to the downside, the lowest point to the downside. I flipped it here. I've created a high here. So as long as we remain above this swing point just here, which so far we are respecting, we are going to technically remain bullish. So we're bullish on the daily, bearish on the weekly, bullish on the 4-hour. Marking this resistance currently at a support on the 4-hour. Marking those lows and see what it looks like in the M30 and also the lows. All right, now onto the M30. So we're at a support and we're bullish on the 4-hour. Mentioned bullish on the daily. The M30 is technically bearish, but again, hard to ignore the support that we're currently at. I'm going to leave that zone in because it's pretty much the low of the bullish candle just there. That zone remains, and as does this one. All right, what we're doing is, guys, again, what you probably best to do right now is play the range. So we're right near the bottom, right at support, consolidating at support on the high time frame, the 4-hour range. What I'd be looking for right now is come close to, a little bit closer to the open. We get a nice move up, and then maybe a pullback to tap into that previous consolidation and tied in with maybe Asian Open, Japanese Open. Look for buys upon continuation from these lows. But you want a confirmation, you want a strong catalyst at this stage. Not enough volume yet. I would not have taken that based off that, and it still wouldn't have broken a high to take an entry either way. That bullish engulfing candle. So I just wait for a little bit of direction right now. It's very early in today. let it create maybe a first impulse up, pull back, form a support to potentially buy it, but you definitely want to be buying it from these lows. So if you can find your way in, as long as you get the right confirmation to do so, I'd be looking for buys above this point here. Now, as for sell options in the M30 is bearish, it's a matter of waiting for a pullback from that previous day's candle yet again to grab some more liquidity. Let's see where we could potentially pull back to. Well, 4 hour got a fair bit of way to go. Potentially this level on the M30 could be a level that price could potentially at some point pull back to form a resistance to head back down. And that's how I'd be playing the range, guys. Be looking at sells below this point here, and I'll be looking at buys at lows. And that is probably a wrap, guys, for the Asian session. I hope it all makes sense. Once again, if you can, hit the like button, leave a comment below, and I will catch you for London session a little bit later. Cheers, guys, and bye for now.